What's going on, guys? Fun with Knives back again. I have the Meyerco Daryl Ralph Maxx-Q Tactical Assisted Knife to show you guys today. And this is a knife I am absolutely ashamed that I own. If I created a playlist of an absolutely do not buy list, this is the epitome of that idea. This went on sale at Knife Center for $19.95. I already had a knife in my cart. I don't even remember what it was. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a cool looking knife. I'll add it on to my order. And man, that's just such a big regret of mine. So I'll do this quickly, guys. I'll go over the specs and, why I don't like this knife, why I don't recommend it. But, stay tuned. I'll have a couple interesting things about it. So we have a blade length of 3¼ inches, a handle length of 4½ inches, and then an overall length of 7 7/8 inches, with a weight that is undisclosed on Knife Center's site. So I'm guessing by my superb knife skills that this is probably around the 4.5 ounce mark. Not crazy heavy. So we have a blade that is also undisclosed. It is a mystery steel. Now, who in their right mind as a knife guy would buy a knife that didn't label the steel? At $20, I was just like, it's got to have something similar to 8CR13 MOV, and I think it's subpar even to that. I think this has got some sort of AUS-6 steel or 4CR14 or something like that. This is not a good steel. It's got a very weird design. It's kind of a Tonto with a very steep recurve. It does have a black coating on it. I'm sure it's just kind of a black paint. The DDR Daryl Ralph design logo. You got all of these little holes throughout it that serve no purpose whatsoever. They're just for some design flair, I guess. The grind lines on it are actually pretty attractive, other than they kind of messed up this relief edge here. But this thing is decently sharp. I don't think this blade shape is absolutely useless, but I should have just looked closer at my purchase, guys. I just kind of threw it in my cart and bought it. You got a cool swedge taken out on top. Blade thickness, I'm guessing, is 0.14 or so. I'm working off very limited information here. I know nothing about this Meyerco brand whatsoever, other than it's probably the swap meet brand of the knife world. We're talking less than Gerber quality, but maybe just a tiny bit better than gas station knife quality. So let's move to deployment here, guys. It is a spring-assisted knife with this kind of open design flipper or these ambidextrous thumb studs. Deployment's pretty quick, but this mechanism is absolutely just terrible. You have an exposed spring that shoots this blade out, and there's no detention in this blade whatsoever, that you just need to touch the flipper and it comes out. Terrible design for an assisted opening mechanism. It works okay in its functionality, but if you were to have this knife in your hand, it doesn't even need a shake to come loose. It just comes right out. It's kind of scary, to be honest with you. These thumb studs act as your blade stop. There's all sorts of blade play with a lockup. You can actually hear it. It's up and down. It's side to side. This has an inset liner lock. It's hitting pretty good. It's a thick piece of steel, but it is just a terrible lock. I don't trust this whatsoever. I'm sure if I went outside and smacked this on some concrete, it would fail absolutely. It's riding on what I'm assuming to be Teflon washers, and they're very little. I think I carried this knife just a couple times just to make myself feel better about it that I purchased it, and oh man, if I could get rid of this knife, I would, but I don't even feel comfortable selling it to somebody. These handles are G10 with a full backspacer. This is close construction. Big old thick slabs, terrible texture. It just looks like they machined it in just these lines. It's not very grippy. This G10 seems very poor quality. I don't even know if it's real G10. This just could be some sort of plastic that's been milled to look like G10. It is screw together construction. You can't take this thing apart. Has a lanyard hole that's kind of integrated through that backspacer. Blade centering, surprisingly good. That's one good thing about this knife. Blade centering is good. As you can see inside of there, your G10 is just unfinished in certain parts. It's not even colored. That locking mechanism looks like it's ready to rust. Just a terrible design knife, guys. I've heard of Daryl Ralph as a custom knife designer, and I guess some of his customs are actually pretty sought after. But man, if I was him, I would not want my name on such a knife. So you do have some jimping here on top that is useless. It's sharp, but it's so shallow that it doesn't provide any traction whatsoever. Your ergonomics on this knife are just weird. You got this huge divot here, a little bit of palm swell in the G10, and you know, the front side where your fingers fit is actually pretty comfortable. As you're using this knife, you don't really get any good position to hold it. Reverse grip's not bad, but as a tactical knife, no way. Terrible lock, weird opening system that just doesn't seem trustworthy. Mystery steel. I suppose the blade shape isn't bad as some sort of tactical option, but no, tactical knife, absolutely not. Novelty knife because you like the way it looks, sure. I think this is a cool looking knife. It's blacked out, you know, it fills your hand pretty well because it's kind of larger, but ergonomics are not good. The holes in the blade just look cool, but it looks, like I said, like a swap meet knife. So guys, this is an absolute do not buy knife. I'm so ashamed that I own it. I wish I could just get rid of it, but this pocket clip too, I almost forgot to mention, it is one position, it is tipped down, and you get a full inch sticking out of your pocket. It is a terrible design. It's way too stiff, but I'm sure I could bend it out with my finger. Oh, I sure can. Just a terrible design overall. So the good about this knife, I think the flipper's cool, that it's kind of hollowed out. It's got good traction on it. The blade design is kind of cool, but other than that, guys, do not buy. So thanks for watching. As always, guys, this is kind of a funny video for me. Make sure to like and subscribe. I got more knife videos coming as always. Thanks.